Hi everyone, Jeff Lee here, Program Director of TMASF Connects. I am joined by TMASF Connect staff members Jen Pollard, Chief Operating Officer, and Shirley Lin, Marketing Associate. Today, we are discussing the efforts of SFMTA that builds on their legacy of offering successful commute trips and reflects best practices refined during the COVID-19 pandemic. We would like to thank Jeffrey Tumlin, SFMTA's Director of Transportation, for taking time to talk with us today. TMASF Connects has supported the use of public transportation services in the Bay Area and its benefits for the past 30 years. We are a privately funded nonprofit that promotes alternatives to driving alone. In this interview series, we'd like to discuss and highlight measures SFMTA has taken to welcome commuters back as they return or try the Muni system. From our most recent commuter behavior survey, taken pre-pandemic 2020, 30% of our association members take Muni as part of their daily trip. Jeffrey, you're an urban planner by trade with over 20 years of experience in the transportation world. You've also written a book on the subject, Sustainable Transportation, Tools for Creating Healthy, Vibrant, and Resilient Communities. As San Francisco natives and residents, we're thrilled to have that type of expertise at SFMTA and honored to have you here with us today.
I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. So our first topic for today's discussion will be on sanitation in the Muni system, which you already kind of dived into. From the baseline sanitation of Muni vehicles and stations pre-pandemic 2019, we want commuters to understand the extraordinary efforts of SFMTA. How did SFMTA offer an enhanced commuter experience, and what can you tell them about the new sanitation procedures that were implemented?
Yeah, that's another good question. And we're so grateful that we are a city department and we have the amazing San Francisco Department of Public Health and Dr. Grant Colfax. We owe such a debt of gratitude for Dr. Colfax acting so early at the very beginning of the pandemic and providing us with the latest guidance around the latest science every step of the way. So from the very beginning of the pandemic, we hired a whole crew of new car cleaners that were really focused on sterilization. And so everything, we have the foggers and, we're sterilizing every surface. And then we learned, of course, that COVID isn't spread through surfaces and that the sterilization was just damaging our vehicles. But what we found out was that our passengers responded very positively to the enhanced cleaning on all of our vehicles. So while our cleaning procedures have continually evolved with the science, we're still maintaining this extraordinarily high level of cleaning, both of our vehicles as well as our stations. Shutting down the rail system for a year and then also doing quarterly early shutdowns during the weekends has also enabled us to get ahead of some of the deep cleaning that's been needed in our stations to make sure that surfaces are, everything looks better than I've certainly ever seen them in my whole adult life here in San Francisco. And that's something that we expect to continue and is included in our new budget.
All right, thank you.
So Jeffrey, I know you just actually touched base on what I was going to ask you about with the diverse types of vehicles in your fleet. Are there unique challenges that Muni's facing with the safety and the cleanliness standards? What this changed or even advanced?
No, our custodial crews are excellent and creative. I was down in the subway at 2 o'clock in the morning a couple of weeks ago and met up with our custodial crews and ended up talking with them for an hour about all of the different creative approaches that they've been developing in order to be both more effective and more efficient in the cleaning. There's been nothing that I have needed to do as an exec aside from continue to hire and point out the amazing creativity of our custodial and janitorial crews. They're truly dedicated to their work.
No, thank you.
So Jeffrey, on top of that, have you hired additional custodians or increased training for current custodial staff?
Yeah, absolutely. So as I said before, we hired a lot of additional car cleaners and custodial staff early in the pandemic, and we've been working together with them with the latest health science data in order to continually adjust their cleaning procedures to make them more effective, both more effective from a health standpoint, as well as more effective from a passenger experience perspective.
Thank you.
And lastly, kind of going back to Jen's question a little bit, but with all those diverse types of vehicles in the fleet, does Muni use the standard MERV 13 filters on its vehicles as recommended by the EPA?
So on our Muni vehicles, because most of our vehicles have windows that open, our HVAC systems bring air only in from the outside. And so there's no recirculated air on our vehicles. So those very high intensity MERV filters are just not necessary. In fact, what they do is constrain the airflow. What we have found to be much more effective is to maximize the airflow of fresh air coming into the vehicles so that our air in each of our vehicles turns over at least once every minute, which is the highest standard of any system that I'm aware of.
Okay, good to know. Thank you for reviewing the sanitation procedures in place at Muni today. That wraps it up for our conversation with Muni for now. Thank you once again, Jeffrey Tumlin, SFMTA's Director of Transportation, for taking time to answer our questions. And thank you to Jen and Shirley as well for joining me today.